Hi everyone, Ashlyn here with Minister for Happiness and welcome to this week's story time. And as always, I'd like to start by saying well done for giving yourself the time and space to listen to this week's story and to take the life lesson into your life. And as always, only take what resonates with you because every story is going to have a different message for everyone. And I'd share my insight with you at the end of the story. And over the week, I was thinking of what story could I talk about this week? What story would be relevant to this time of year and the change of seasons? And I always think autumn is a great time to not just, take up habits or change habits. It's a really good time to let go of stuff. And I think nature teaches us that. Because if you look around in September, you see that the leaves on the trees start to change colour. And very slowly but surely they start to let go of the leaves, the trees. And it's a great way of us learning, nature teaching us actually how to let go. And I think that, September, October, the autumn time is a great time to let go of things that do not serve us, to cleanse and to clear, and to let go of the year that's gone, coming into a new year. So over the next 4 months, I think, it's a great time for letting go and resetting ourselves and preparing for a new year. And I know a lot of us, or a lot of people out there, will be happy to see the end of 2020, even though I'm sure that there's still things for us to learn this year that we can take into 2021. So I was thinking about what story would I talk about, and I'm going to share with you a story that I share at customer care courses that I teach, because I think it's a wonderful, wonderful story about how we can look at life and really make a difference just by the way we think. And on the courses I teach, I always play a video of a man called Mark Sanborn, who's an American inspirational speaker. He travels all over the world. But there's this video clip, you can check it out on YouTube. And he talks about, or gives a speech about his postman. Now, just to give you a bit of context, Mark Sanborn is, as I said, living in America. And in America, the postal service or postal carriers are federal employees. So just to give you a bit of context, because when I tell you the story, that'll make a bit of sense to a few things I'm going to mention. So Mark Sanborn tells a story of how when he bought his first ever home when he was 37, he moved to the neighbourhood, and 2 days after moving into his first home, he got a knock on the door. There was a knock on the door and he opened the door, and there in front of him was the postman. And the man introduced himself. He said, "Hi, my name is Fred Shea, Mr. Sanborn, and I'm your postal carrier. I just wanted to welcome you to the neighbourhood and introduce myself." So Mark was quite impressed by this. And Fred said, "Look, I just wanted to find out a little bit about you, what kind of work you do, if you're away travelling ever, just so that I can give, you the best service." And Mark Sanborn was quite surprised. He said, in his own mind, he was thinking, I've been getting mail post my whole adult life, and I've never had my postman introduce himself or offer me extra service. So Fred explained to him that, if you travel with your work, which Mark Sanborn does because he's a public speaker, he travels all over the world, he said, sometimes your mailbox might get full. And in that case, I'd be happy to hold on to your mail, wrap it up and deliver it to you when you return. So Mark was quite impressed by this. He'd never thought he could get, a la carte postal deliveries. So he thanked Fred and he said, "That's really kind of you, thanks very much." Fantastic. And off went Fred. And as time went on, Mark started to realise that Fred was more than just your typical postman. One time, Mark came home from his travels and noticed that his mat inside his porch was gone. And when he looked around the porch, he noticed it was in the corner and it was covering a box. And when he investigated, he realised that UPS, another delivery service, had dropped a parcel for him down the road to a neighbour's house by accident. But his postman, Fred Shea, noticed that the parcel was delivered to the wrong house and brought it up to Mark's house and covered it so no one would see it with a mat and put a little note saying, "Hi Mark, Mr. Sanborn, someone delivered your package to the wrong house. I just placed it here for you," and covered it with the mat. So not only was Fred delivering the post, he was also picking up the slack for UPS. So he always did things like this over the years, and Mark noticed that he was always going the extra mile. He was always being kind and considerate. Mark used to give presents to Fred, his postman, at Christmas or different times of the year, and he'd leave a note and a gift for him. And whenever Fred would give a card to Mark, he would put a postal stamp on the letter or on the envelope Because in the United States, it's a federal offence to deliver a letter without having a stamp on it. So Fred would put the stamp on even though he was hand delivering the letter or the card or whatever the case may be. So he was a very honest, very decent person and very grateful. And he'd always, thank Mark for any presents or gifts. So for 10 years, Mark lived in this place and Fred gave him the most amazing postal service. Eventually, 10 years later, Mark moved with his wife and they were expecting their first child. And it was only then when he was writing a book that he decided to go and ask Fred Shea, his postman of 10 years, why it was that he gave such exceptional service. No one was paying him anymore. No one was giving him any incentive to do this because his job was just to deliver the post. So he asked Fred this one day. He said, I'm writing a book and I'd like to know what's your motivation? Why do you give such good service? Why do you go that extra mile? And Fred Shea, the postman, said that there's only one thing I think of every night when I lie in bed. And he said, that is, did I waste any of the day that's finished? And Mark Sanborn took that lesson, and when he wrote his book, he wrote that it's probably one of the biggest things he's learned in life now from Fred Shea. It's that fear nothing but to waste the present moment. And I think that is a wonderful lesson. And we can all learn a lot from Fred. Not just about customer service, not just about being a good person and going the extra mile and giving extraordinary service. But at the end of our day, every day, when we lay down to sleep, to look back on the day and to ask ourselves, did I waste any of the day that's passed? Did I do the best I could do with the day? Was I kind? Was I considerate? Was I patient? Did I have fun? Did I laugh? Did I have a joyful day? And I think those are the kind of questions we should ask ourselves at the end of our day. And that's the lesson I personally take from the story of Fred Shea, the postman. And all of us can apply this in everything we do, in our work, in our relationships, in our family. I think these lessons can be applied in any area that we want to apply them to. So at the start of a new season, coming to the close of a year that's been challenging, that's been, full of lessons. Maybe this lesson this week may be one that you want to take. And, at the end of your day today, when you lay down to sleep, ask yourself, did you waste any of the day that's gone? And if there was something you could have changed, would you do it different tomorrow? And take that into the future with you. So as always, well done for taking the time and space to listen to this story this week. I hope you enjoyed it. And you can check out that video on YouTube. The guy's name is Mark Sanborn, and you'll see it. It's an old video, I think from the 80s, but it's a really good story, and he probably tells it a lot better than I did. But you could get 2 stories today, so check it out. And as always, please like and share this story, because you never know who might need to hear this story this week, who might need this life lesson, who this might really speak to. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't. And as always, have the most wonderful week ahead. And stay healthy, and more importantly, stay happy. Until next week, have a super Sunday. Bye.